So imagine you have finally decided to study in the UK. You've chosen your course, you're excited about the future, and you're ready to start your journey. But then you discover that something actually confuses you. Many international students get really confused. You realize that there are different intakes in the UK, mainly the January intake and the September intake. And suddenly, the big question comes, which one should you choose? Some students rush into January intake and later realize that September might have given them more options. Others actually wait for September and later realize that they had started earlier in January. So now, how do you decide which one is right for you as an international student with the intention of studying in the UK? In this video, I want us to talk about the real differences between the January and the September intakes in the university. Think of this as a conversation where a friend is actually explaining the whole system to you in a very simple way so that you can make the best decision for your future. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Daku, and on this channel we talk about studying in the UK, we talk about life abroad, and also give helpful advice for international students. I know that studying abroad is a big decision. It actually involves planning, it involves preparation and understanding of how things work. That's why today we're going to talk in details about the January and September intakes in the UK so you can clearly understand the advantages and disadvantages of each one. First, let's start with something very simple. What does intake actually mean? An intake simply refers to like a period where university accepts new students and starts their academic programs, of course. So in the UK, universities mainly have two major intakes, which are the September intake. The September intake is seemingly considered as the main intake, while the January intake is considered as the second intake. Some universities also have May intake, but it's actually very less common. So now, understanding how this intake work is actually important because it can affect the number of courses available to you. It can also affect your scholarship opportunities and even sometimes your job prospects while studying. So I'm going to explain in details the September intake. So the September intake is actually the largest and most popular intake in the UK. In fact, the majority of international students begin their studies during this intake. And one reason is that most universities design their academic calendar around the September intake. And this is because students usually have access to like a wider variety of courses in this intake. More universities offer programs in September intake, and sometimes you have a lot more scholarship opportunities in September intake. Another advantage is that the campus environment actually feels more active and lively. Since most students start in September, universities organize many orientation activities to actually help new students settle in. So now we delve into the January intake. So now, the January intake is often seen as probably the second opportunity for students who missed the September intake and is given a second chance to, not to wait till another year to apply to the universities. So, for example, some students may actually not have been ready with their, say, documents, their finances, or even their English test result in the time for September. So now, instead of waiting an entire year, the January intake actually allows them to begin their studies a few months later. So, although fewer courses may actually be available compared to September, but many universities still offer good programs during this intake. So, don't be worried about it. For some students, January intake actually feels less overwhelming because there are fewer students starting at the same time compared to the September intake, where there are lots of people starting at the same time. So, basically, the advantages of September intake is, well, let's just say the one major advantage is the course option, I would say. And because this is the main intake, university actually offer a larger section of programs, So another benefit is more scholarship opportunities. So many scholarship are actually designed for students starting in September compared to January. And also there are more networking opportunities. So since you have many students begin their academic journey at the same time, it actually becomes easier to make friends and build connections. So there's more networking in the September intake compared to the January. But I'm going to still state some advantages of the January intake. One important benefit is it allows extra preparation time. So some students need additional time to prepare documents, arrange finances, or improve their English test results, even because sometimes you write this test and you don't scale through, so you might give yourself a second chance. So another advantage is that competing may sometimes be slightly slower because fewer students apply compared to September intake. So, and it can actually make your application process feel less stressful for some people. So now the question is, how are you going to decide which intake is right for you? How do you decide which one is best for you? Well, the answer actually depends on your personal situation. If you want the largest number of courses option, if you want scholarship, the September intake may be a better choice. But however, if you need more time to prepare your documents or even your finances, the January intake can still be a very good option. The most important thing is not rushing your decision, because here at this point you need to take your time to research universities, understand the requirements, and even prepare properly. So if there is one piece of advice I'll give anyone planning to study in the UK, it is this: preparation is everything. The more you understand the system before you apply, the smoother your journey would be. Now, I would really like to hear from you guys. Are you planning to study in the UK in the January intake or in the September intake? Let me know in the comment section below. And also, if you found this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more helpful advice about studying and living in the UK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.